Welcome, friends, to another episode of Living Springs Retreat Live. I am your host, Scott Ritzema, and it's 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Central. We are live right now. We go live on Wednesdays, and today it is a very special edition of LSR Live. We're going to be going into the actual kitchen of Living Springs Retreat, and we're going to be exploring, of course, healthy holiday cooking. I'm sure many of you came expecting that very topic. Cynthia and the LSR team will be presenting, and your questions can come in while we all just have a good time in the kitchen cooking. And I'm thinking about holiday cooking. Is this an important topic to be talking about right now as we record this? Maybe you're listening later on the archive. Make some plans for the next series of holidays, because this time of year comes every year along with the weight gain and the indulgence in unhealthy food. And when we serve appetite in that way, we end up with, here's the data, an average of 1 to 2 pounds gained for for Americans across the board. I know people are watching from all over the world, but I have the American data. Average weight gain of 1 to 2 pounds that is not then subsequently lost in the new year or in the rest of the year. And so year over year, we are just ballooning in our obesity rates. And let's solve that by enjoying healthy food that God made for us to enjoy. And you don't have to skimp, and you don't have to engage in some sort of austerity of our enjoyment. We can have a great holiday season. And of course, before we go into the kitchen and meet our guest, or not our guests this time, but the hosts, our sponsor, these things have been flying off the shelves. And those who tried to place an order and they weren't there, they're back now. And I realized there was a reason Revita Guard and Revita Sinus are so popular, because this is the time of year so many people are getting, oh, I feel it, honey, in my sinuses. Well, that's where you got to take action right away when you first feel it, or think I may feel something coming on in the throat here. Just target the throat, target the sinus. You got the iodine, you got the essential oils, you got what you need in there. Follow that QR code, have them in stock in your cupboard, ready to go for when these things hit, or just when it's spreading around. When somebody in the family's gotten something, I just start spraying both. And I don't want to say it, because I know if I say it, I'll end up getting sick, but there's been a very good success rate and track record thus far, and prayerfully, by God's grace, that will continue. And we have 4.9 stars on the Revita Living products that you can get at the LSR store. So be sure to make yourself blessed by those. Cynthia and Naomi, we are so happy to be joining you for a number of recipes today. We're going to be learning how to cook healthy for the holidays. So what do you have in front of you right there to start us out?
This is a pumpkin flan, and we've just come across it, but it is so good. You will want to make it.
What is it? I didn't grow up learning about this. I took Spanish class and learned about flan in Spanish class, but I think a lot of us don't know what it is.
A flan is like a pudding. We would say like a pumpkin pudding.
And
there you've got it on the screen, so folks can take the screenshot and do an ultra zoom of that and collect the recipe. Of course, we got recipes in the cookbooks at the LSR store, but we're going to be going through a few of them. Take us through the pumpkin flan tonight, ladies.
Well, we're hoping that when you see how easy it is to make, that you will want to try it for Thanksgiving, which is next week. So whatever it is you had planned for next week, you can substitute this pumpkin flan. I can assure you, you will not regret it. So what does it have? It has, and we're going to put this in a blender. So what it has is 2 cups of pumpkin, and you can also make your own pumpkin pie. You can make the pumpkin by just taking your squash, or taking anyone, the kabocha squash or the butternut squash, and you can actually steam it and blend it, and you can make your own pumpkin. So here is what the pumpkin. We bought this one at Walmart, mm-hmm. Or even Aldi's actually sells it. So this is what we're going to use. So we have here 2 cups. The can is 2 cups, so we don't have to measure it. So we're going to put that in the blender. What else are we going to put, Naomi?
Well, we have some other things, but I was thinking probably agar is something that is not as familiar to people. But we sell it in the store, and this is a thickener. So this will give you the consistency that you need for the flan. But what we need to do is we need to bring this to a boil in a cup of water. So I think I'm going to go do that, Cynthia.
Yes.
Well, you can finish putting things in the blender. I'm going to go cook up the agar, and then we will pour it into the blender.
Okay. So you've just seen the recipe. So 2 cups of pumpkin. We have 1 extra firm tofu. And here again, this tofu is organic. It's extra firm. And you can get this at Aldi's. And Aldi's has the cheapest tofu around. It's $1.55. So you can actually buy a few of these and keep it in the fridge because you might find yourself wanting to use it for other things. Okay? So we're going to put this in the blender. Okay, here it goes. And the next thing is a cup of unsweetened coconut milk. And here we go. This is the one that we use. It actually just has coconut milk. And so this is a good one to use. We pour everything in. All of this goes in. Wonderful. Our next thing would be the condensed, sweetened condensed milk. Now you can make your own condensed milk, which means that you will take coconut milk and you would add some sugar to it, and you would just let it boil and bring it to 1 cup, which is what you will probably need. I've tried it before, and it was just fantastic. So this is something that you can use yourself. The next thing we need is a tablespoon of vanilla essence. Vanilla essence goes in. A pinch of salt. And we need some pumpkin spice. So here's your pumpkin spice. So everything goes in the blender. This is how simple it is. Once you have the ingredients on hand, all you need to do now is blend. And so we are going to...
Do you need to put this in before you blend it?
No.
Okay.
So after we have blended this, we're going to add the agar. Okay? We need to, by the way, the agar needs to be soft, not overboiled, because that can make it a little too firm. And once you've done that, once we've finished blending the contents here, then we will add the agar, and then we'll put it in a pie dish. Okay, are you with me?
Bring it to a boil and turn it off, or how long do you let it boil?
It's thick. Is it thick?
For folks just joining us, this is the In the Kitchen at LSR live manufacturing of pumpkin flan, healthy holiday cooking. So you get to see the cooking in action here. We're going to go into delicious collards, pecan loaf, and cauliflower kale salad shortly.
Not bad. A yellow bottle. Okay. Okay, so now that we have blended everything together, it needs to be nice and smooth. Okay? So we're going to add...
Is it too hot?
Just a little bit. And it's okay that it's hot. You just pour it in.
Thank you.
I thought I had a yellow. Okay. We want this to blend really nicely. So what we're going to do, we have a little thumper for the blender. We're going to make sure that we're blending it and everything is mixed well.
That's a Vitamix right there, isn't it? We don't have a promo code for that, but that's a recommended product. I think ought to be in every kitchen. My wife uses that. We use that in my family's kitchen as well as the LSR demo here. So this flan is a good replacement for the unhealthy desserts. We've got Brandable, who's commenting blessings to everybody and was actually in the studio smelling the smells, the fragrances of healthy holiday cooking.
That is wonderful.
It smells
Now,
wonderful.
what you can also do now, you got your pan that you can put it in. You can actually, this is date syrup, and I just made it. It's dates and water and blended. Now, you can make it and also strain it, but I figure why waste? So we blended the whole thing. So we're gonna put a little in the bottom of the pan before we put it in.
And if you don't have date butter, you could probably put some maple
Maple
syrup, maybe.
syrup. Maple
Very
syrup.
nice.
Yes. Okay. So once we've done that, now we can add our mixture.
Wow, that looks so good.
Yeah, you need to get a spoon so I can taste it.
This is true.
I always like to taste things before I give it to anyone to make sure. Why don't you taste it, Naomi?
I should.
I know you won't say no.
Oh, it is delicious.
Ooh, wow, that's good. That's good.
It's almost like pumpkin pie, but it's even easier because you don't have to worry about making a crust.
Right.
We had this last week and it was so good. We said we had to do this for the cooking class. It was the first time I had it. It was so good.
One of our
Now-
viewers asks, is this like a custard? And you described
Yes,
it as
it
kind
is.
of like a pudding, you know, this flan, a Spanish
Custard is probably
cuisine,
a better
right?
word for it.
Yes, yes, it is awesome. So, you got to look at that, Larry.
We've got a question that's come in while you're cooking. Yvonne wonders, why is coconut milk sometimes very thick?
That's probably the coconut cream. That's much more concentrated, and you can use less of that instead of the coconut milk.
But also sometimes the canned coconut milk, it tends to separate. So you need to shake it up because sometimes it'll look really thick, but then it'll be
Yes.
watered down at the bottom. So always shake your can or shake your container
Thoroughly.
before you open it.
Thoroughly.
Yeah. Or put
So-
a wire whisk and do it.
So this is our freshly made, but we have one that's already made. Naomi's going to show you that one.
Yes, so we will show you how it's set up here. We made one earlier so you can see what it looks like after it's done. And we have put it in a nice little heart-shaped pan here.
Don't open.
You might know the secret, Cynthia. This is... There it is.
Here's my spatula.
Here's one.
Okay. Scott, would you like to taste it?
I'm on my way.
Okay.
It looks good.
Okay, you got it. Don't you have to open it?
It's there you go.
There it is.
Oh, beautiful.
A little unsteady here, but hey, the taste of the pudding is in the eating. So now we have two for the weekend. What are we going to
I know
do?
what we'll be enjoying for the next couple days.
God's love for man, right? God's given us such good food to enjoy. One of our commenters says, very yummy. Thank you, Brandable.
Yes, it is.
And
I
Anna
had
Lee,
not had this before till last week. Cynthia made it, and it was delicious.
wonderful.
And
We've got
it's so simple.
Anna Lee says, hello, Scott, and always great to see you. Blessing in Yeshua's matchless name. Amen and amen. Welcome, Anna Lee.
Okay, so that was one down, a few more to go. So our next recipe is going to be our Collards loaf.
You want to do the loaf next?
Is this one called Delicious Collards?
Oh, is that the Collards? Is that the one we were going to do?
Yes,
Let's do the
that's what we're
Collards.
going to do next.
Let's do the
Yes, this
Collards.
is Cynthia's recipe.
All right.
Many people are used to putting some kind of stock in their collards that is more animal based, but we wanted to show them there's nice healthy collards with nice healthy seasonings in it. So Cynthia's going to
Great.
show us. We have pre-cooked the collards just so they are a bit softened already, but we will go over the rest of the ingredients and put it in our skillet here.
And you just got a hello also from a Teresa who attended in person LSR's retreat and said her diet was completely changed. And I'm going to fill in the blanks for the better for having
Wonderful.
visited Living Springs retreat.
That's wonderful.
And Val
Teresa.
says, doesn't it need to be cooked, the flan?
No.
It's that simple. The tofu is already cooked, and we cook the agar because that's going to give it the right consistency. But no, everything else is ready to go.
Is there anyone out there who don't like to cook? Let us know. We're going to change that. And I'd like to just quickly share, because when I was growing up, I could not cook anything. I left home at 26, still wanting to know how to cook. And coming from a large family, my dad, he made me want to cook because he said, Cynthia, if you don't learn to cook, you're not going to get a husband. But so I learned to cook. I was forced into learning to cook because my dad would come home, he would open the pot and he would shake his head and says, don't tell me Cynthia cook again today.
Oh.
So he forced me basically, and when I left home, I started learning to cook, just getting cookbooks from around the world and just trying them. So if I've come from not being able to cook to being able to do a cooking show, then you can do it too. Okay,
Right.
So our recipe is, first, Naomi, we're going to
Some olive
saute.
oil with some onions, saute some onions.
And like we said, we've already pre-done the greens, the collards, so that it will not take as much
And
time.
we should probably put the garlic in there as well,
So
right?
put the garlic in,
Onion and garlic together goes nice.
very fragrant. And don't hesitate to use onion and garlic, especially this time of the year, where the cold season, the flu season, and so the more the merrier. It won't hurt you. The only thing about it is it's antisocial.
But not necessarily if it's cooked, Cynthia. That's more if it's raw, right?
Well, that's true. That's true. But just saute the onions, and then we're going to put
Maybe the tomatoes.
add the tomatoes, all the seasoning basically go in.
And you don't have to use fresh tomatoes, but it is we like to use
It's
fresh
nice.
as much as possible.
Yeah.
So these are just Roma tomatoes chopped up.
Yeah. What else do we need?
We need, I think, something really good for this is the smoked paprika. You can get that almost anywhere, but it just gives such a nice addition to the seasoning. So I put it in here.
Just whatever is needed.
And then we have some coconut aminos. The soy sauce we find is very salty, and it has also been fermented. And so a lot of people have gone to liquid aminos, but we find that the coconut aminos is the healthiest for you. So We'll put that in there. And then we have some thyme. This is dry thyme.
And that's the other thing. Don't stinge on your herbs because they have a lot of benefits to them. This smells absolutely delicious. What's the next thing? Mary?
Now, would you like to add a little bit more salt? Because I don't think we put any salt in there.
And
well, I think that's it because
lemon
we're going to
juice
add
goes
the
in the
lemon juice at the
end.
very end, right?
Okay.
Now, did you want to add a little bit more water in there?
Yes. Yes.
You want all of it?
No.
This is just like vegetable broth. It's water and chicken
Okay.
style seasoning.
So the greens,
Then we are ready to add the greens.
remember we have pre-cooked it. So
So if you don't pre-cook it, you may need to add a little bit more water.
correct.
And that's why we have a little bit more, but because they are pre-cooked, we don't need that. Now, did you pre-cook them on the stove or in the Instapot?
I put them in the Instapot. I cheated.
But the Instapot makes things really nice and soft, doesn't it?
Tender. Yes. Prior to this, when Naomi and I when we went out for lunch at one time, we went to a restaurant and the collards they served was so tender. I had to find out how do you do it. And then we found out that they put it in the Instapot and they tenderize it really nicely. So
how long did you cook it in the Instapot?
believe it or not, 6 minutes.
6 minutes.
6
Okay.
minutes with about a half a cup of water. But the Instapot was full.
That's full.
Yes, right there. So what we do with this now, we just let it cook. The tomatoes, the onions, and everything else. And then we're going to add our lemon juice at the end.
So what does the lemon juice do to it?
It actually just brightens it up, and it also is extra vitamin C. Whatever you're using something that's green, like kale or collards, you put a little bit of lemon juice in it, and it actually enhances the absorption of the nutrients in the greens. Yeah, correct.
Okay.
So can you see that? How beautiful it is?
That looks beautiful, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm. A lot of people might assume delicious collards, which is the name of this recipe, is a contradictory term because people run from greens. No way. They're one of the tastiest, most nutritious foods, and you guys know how to cook them. And man, that looks good. That's Southern cooking too, right? The collards.
It's very good. And if you don't have collards, you can use kale as well.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, very good.
You can substitute that.
You guys' audio was a little muffled a minute ago when you were talking about how long to leave the collards in the Instant Pot. Did I hear it 6 minutes?
6 minutes.
Okay.
Yes. Yes. An Instant Pot is very nice for the collard greens, but also for cooking beans. It's just a quick way to get your beans cooked. So we use it all the time at the Lifestyle Center.
Okay, what's our next recipe?
Oh, I want to see the pecan loaf.
The pecan loaf. This is another one that Cynthia created. So we will show you. It's a nice, healthy loaf. And I just served it to our guests last week. And they really liked it.
Okay, so here we go. We already have the pecan. And by the way, this recipe, we're not making a large one because we already made one. So this is half of the recipe that we're making here. Same ingredients, just a smaller one, smaller version. Okay, so what I like to do, Scott, is I like to put the cauliflower in the food processor. And by the way, if you have only two, what is it?
Appliances?
That you can use, huh?
Two appliances.
Two appliances that you can use. It should be, or in the home, it should be a food processor and a blender, and a good blender. I have broken up a lot of blenders. In 1 year, I would go through 3 or 4 blenders until I got the Vitamix. And I've had mine for over 20 years and still going strong. So a good investment. It's an investment in your health. That's the way I look at it. Okay? All right. So what I like to do is just pulse on and off. You don't want it to be mushy. You want it to still have some substance.
Looks good.
Okay. So that's what it looks like. It almost looks like couscous. And there's a recipe that we also have, cauliflower couscous, and you just put whatever you want to put with it as well. So now that we've done that, then we're going to add the pecans. It's already ground, but you can also put the pecans and the cauliflower and grind it at the same time. Okay? So we're going to add that in. Oops. Next, we are going to put some tahini. Now, tahini is actually a sesame seed paste. It's made with sesame, actually, and it's also very, very nutritious, very high in calcium. So this is something that you can actually use in place of peanut butter. Okay. So we have the tahini, we have the, and it's optional, so you don't have to put it there. We have fresh oregano. I like fresh, so we're going to just put fresh with it. And we have the chicken style seasoning. We'll add that. We have the breadcrumbs. That's half of a cup. And we have a half a cup of almond flour. For those of you who don't want to use oats, the almond flour is a good thing to use. I should put that in there, but that's fine. We'll just leave it out. Okay, we need some salt. We need a little bit of paprika. You might say, "Oh, you love paprika." I do. It gives it a beautiful flavor. Oh, we already had some. And so we're going to mix this really well. We need a little bit of water. Now it says a half a cup to 1 cup, but we are going to start with less than that because we don't want this to be really mushy. So Naomi is cutting up some onion, some garlic for us.
Yeah, garlic press works better, but the knife works in a pinch, right?
So if you look at this, you will notice that we really don't need a whole half a cup of water, but we're going to put a little at a time. Where's my water? Okay. So we're going to start with a half a cup, but we may or may not need all of it. I hope you're enjoying this cooking session. It's something that we do very well here at Living Springs.
Well, it's always easier to want to try something when you've seen how it's done, especially if you're new to vegetarian cooking.
Mm-hmm.
So this loaf is a good replacement for, your meatloaf or your meat entree, isn't it?
It is.
Yes,
it really is.
The guests that were with us last week, that's what they said. They said, "Oh, this is like a meatloaf," and they really liked it.
Yeah,
Now,
when I started eating the way that you guys teach that we at LSR cook for guests, I actually found that I enjoyed a wider variety of food than I had previously by, subsisting more on the meat and potatoes monoculture of food.
365 days for the year, you can eat a different meal.
Yeah.
Yeah, there are a lot of options.
Okay, now I want you to take a look at this because you will notice that it is not very soft and runny. You don't want it to be. The cauliflower is going to produce a little bit of moisture. So this is about what it should be, not runny. Okay?
I think I'm going to turn the collards off, Cynthia. I think they are going to be done.
Well,
Do you think? They look pretty good to me.
it does. Okay, so we're now going to just put it in a loaf pan and we're going to bake this. Naomi, we have a loaf that's already,
I know, but do you want to put it in the oven then?
yeah, but just bring the one out so we can show
Yes.
them. Go ahead.
So here's the finished product. We have put a tomato sauce on top. And you put the tomato sauce on for like the last 20 minutes or so, or do
I
you
put it from the beginning, like
you put it from the beginning?
we need the one that's in the fridge to
Okay.
put on top.
So we'll put the tomato sauce on top and then we'll put it in the oven.
That looks good. Oh,
It is
man.
fantastic.
And if you don't have time, we have given you a tomato sauce recipe, but if you don't have time to make a tomato sauce, you can get one from the store, whatever you can come up with.
And you can buy whatever flavor.
Gus asks, are these ingredients found in a regular store or natural grocer? I know there were
Yes.
some QR codes coming up for some things that are at the LSR store, but can you get most of these at the grocery store?
Style seasoning you would probably need to get at the Living Springs store or at a health food store. But everything else you should be able to find at Walmart or Kroger or wherever you usually shop. But I would say this chicken style seasoning most is going to be a little harder to find.
What's that, Larry?
Brand name.
Thank you for your question, Gus.
So we have this chicken style seasoning. McKay's chicken style seasoning is what's usually out there. We buy it in a larger quantity and then we break it down. So
Ooh la la, yummy.
yeah, so
It
that
is
will be a very nice. I
fantastic.
think I'm going to make this for Thanksgiving next week.
Thank you.
How long do we cook it for, Cynthia?
1 hour. 350.
Cyriline is joining us as a new viewer. We just want to welcome you and say hi back to you. And you're at the LSR Kitchen, Living Springs Retreat, preparing holiday healthy cooking meals. And we've just finished up the pecan loaf. Before that was the delicious collards. And before that was the pumpkin flan. So watch the archive if anybody missed those.
Okay. This is the creme de la creme of salads.
All right. What is it?
This is the kale, collard, and Brussels sprout salad raw. When you have a salad like this, you can eat a lot more because it's blended. And so you can find yourself having a big meal just out of a salad like this. So we are going to,
And it's easier to eat kale when it's broken down already.
okay. So we have the kale is already washed.
And you took the
chopped
stems.
and destemmed. So what we're going to do, we'll put half of it in. We're going to put some of the cauliflower in with it. and some of the Brussels sprouts. It's a very festive salad as well. Now, I like to put, not to fill the container up with the collards and the cauliflower, because the bottom of it gets mushy and the top gets granular. So you want to make sure that it is, it's like couscous, just as I said earlier. So you're going to look at it while you're blending it so that it's not very spatula. This is what it looks like. Green. Thank you. So we pour this out and we're going to make another batch because we don't want to make a mushy salad.
Oh, that looks beautiful, Cynthia.
And when we put the pomegranate seeds in there, it's even more festive. So we're going to do that.
I think this was originally just a plain kale salad, and we
Added
mixed it up so it can give the different colors.
Yes. So what we're going to do, we're going to put the nuts in with it because we're just going to pulse on and off. It's not going to be mushy. Okay.
And that was walnuts, right?
And that was walnuts. Sorry. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay. So here we go.
Here, you got the glove on. You want to take that one later?
Mm-hmm. Kale is actually from the cruciferous vegetable list. Kale and collards and cabbage, they're all, we're just going to use that. So what we're going to do now is we're going to add the rest of the ingredients. We have the
Coconut aminos, I think that's what
aminos.
that is.
We have some of the chicken style seasoning. We have some lemon juice. And we have some red onions.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to mix this well.
And do you want, it calls for half a cup of oil?
Yes.
Lizette says, good evening to you two sisters.
Oh, thank you, Lisette. We're glad you joined us.
Yes.
She says that's her favorite salad from LSR.
Lizette came and helped us out once, and so she just enjoyed the recipes that she received.
Okay.
And we're going to put...
And the pomegranates give it the final beautiful touch. If you don't have pomegranates, you can use dates, you can use raisins, you can use cranberries. It just gives it a nice, beautiful holiday festive and adds a nice taste to the salad as well. So, isn't that beautiful? Sure you don't want to put the rest of it on?
Look at that.
Well, that's a work of art. Oh, the glory of our God in giving us such nutritious food. I'll tell you, it's Thanksgiving in America, right? And we sing hymns like, "Come ye thankful people, come. Raise the song of harvest home. All is safely gathered in. ere the winter storms begin. And
Yes,
I love this time of year. There's so much to be thankful for.
It's true. It's
and
true.
Scott, the word of God says, "Oh, give thanks unto the Lord, for he is
Good.
and
Amen.
his mercies endure it forever."
The
Yeah.
the recipe's on the screen again if you didn't screen capture that earlier, and then you can zoom in and use that later and
Put that here.
try some of these recipes this holiday season. See how your family and friends like them. What's the reception of the food at the retreat in your experience when people come and try new things? And you mentioned the people loved the loaf, and how else do people respond to changing their palate?
They're blown away.
Most of them,
Go ahead.
Most of them are surprised that the vegetarian food can taste good.
Yeah.
And we had guests last week, and some of them weren't so sure. I don't think any of them were vegetarians, actually. But by the end, they were excited to go home and try some. So
Scott, we had a couple, we had a mother that came, she had cancer, and her daughters, 3 daughters came with her. And the husbands told the wives, don't come back and tell us that we're vegans or
vegetarian.
vegetarians. But by the middle of the week, they were calling their husbands, I want you to get rid of this, I want you to get rid of that. We don't want that in the house anymore. And so when they went home, they said the husband really went along with what they were cooking because they realized the food tasted good, it looked good, and it was nutritious. And so they started making changes.
I've said it many times. I enjoy food more now than I used to.
I do. I do. And I've come from not liking to cook to cooking and loving what I eat, what I prepare.
So give us a review. Is that the last recipe?
No.
Oh, we got one more.
No, the mashed potatoes.
The mashed potatoes are here.
Yes.
It would not be Thanksgiving in America without mashed potatoes. That one is straight up from my childhood. The collard greens and the flan is a little outside of my cultural upbringing, but you got to talk to me about doing mashed potatoes healthy now.
It's only 3 ingredients. It's potatoes, salt, and coconut milk. Can't get any simpler than that. And it's absolutely wonderful. You can use coconut milk or you can use cashew milk. Either one will do the work, but it is fantastic. So you notice that it doesn't have any butter, any oil.
But the coconut gives it that creaminess.
Yes, it does. So you can use a mashed potato masher, or you can use the blender. The food processor. I love the food processor. It's my chef in the kitchen. And you only have to pay once. Just buy it. Coconut milk. Pinch of salt.
And then you just want a pinch of salt?
Yes. So you will add just enough milk to get it to the consistency that you like. Give them a spoon, please.
We got a cameo appearance from the behind-the-scenes producer there. Welcome, Jeremy. Thanks for everything you do for LSR. I don't think he meant to do that.
Yes.
Oh, that looks delicious.
Here we go. Look at that.
Mmm.
Delicious.
Mmm.
Simply delicious. Okay. So, oh, the kale is so pretty. And it's very simple. And you think of all the nutrition that you're getting out of this.
Mm-hmm.
it's enough to want you to be intemperate, but you're not supposed to be. You have a plate near me?
I do.
Okay.
So I've got some loaf on here, and I've got some salad, and I've got the potatoes and the collard greens. And that's a good meal right there.
Mm-hmm.
And even if you overeat this, you don't have to worry about weight gain. Isn't that wonderful?
Yes. Yes.
Done to sweet potatoes. Potatoes in a
Food processor?
food processor.
Naomi, you learned something today.
Yes, this is true. This is true.
Have you
So
take
that
this
was
out,
your
a piece of
dessert,
paper
and you're
towel?
ready to go.
Sarah Lean says, work of art indeed. And Irina says, thank you. And I'm thankful too for the demo. You're not quite finished yet with your presentation, but yeah, zoom in on that. Oh man, that is healthy holiday cooking
Yes,
done
it
for
is.
you all live on LSR Live. I think I could go back for seconds of that exact plate right there.
It's okay. And that thing about it, there's lots of fiber in this food too, which is
Oh yeah,
very important.
indeed.
Very important. And our dessert,
Do you think I should bring it out? Do you think it's going to be?
well, let's use the other one. We'll just put it in a plate.
Yeah.
And we have some.
If the listeners have any questions, please feel free. I think it's just been so clear how to do this. There aren't a lot of questions probably. You guys are not only good cooks, but good teachers. I praise God for that. Brendable agrees with me and most people. Loving the taters. I love them too. And there's that heart-shaped flan. Ooh, coconut milk. Never thought of that, says Cyriline. I have a question. Do the potatoes taste too coconutty? Do you ever get that feedback, or does it just thicken it up nice and make it creamy and you don't feel like you're having coconut?
No, it's not too coconutty.
Yeah.
You just put enough. You can also use a little bit of coconut oil if you want to.
Or you could use a little bit of unsweetened almond milk.
or almond milk.
Yeah. You mentioned the cashew milk, and I know that oat milk is really thick and creamy too for those who can't have cashews, and some people can't have oats. But yeah, find what works for you and get some creamy milk in there to make it mashed potatoes, and that's good stuff. Cyriline says yes, very clear. Everything was very clear to our live viewers, and those who are watching this later can't interact on the chat with you right now, but you can post your comments under the video as well and discuss these 5 very good, healthy, clearly taught recipes for healthy holiday cooking. We went through the pumpkin flan. You know, you eat your dessert last, but I guess you ladies cook it first.
We're going to do it first.
And then we moved on to the delicious
taste it now, and
collards.
we'll see if it turned out good.
Yeah. All right. Which one are you eating? You're eating the flan.
We're eating the flan.
Oh,
It is
yeah.
delicious. You have
You
to
got
try
your
this
pecan
one.
loaf,
So
your
good.
cauliflower kale salad, your mashed potatoes. Of course, on the screen, the 7-day detox course. This is just how you get everything in a single package with guest Barbara O'Neill, of course, and learn what you need to learn about how to live this lifestyle that you find at LSR when you come in person. That 7-day detox course is the course to do that from home. And it'll walk you through step by step how you can have a health reset. And you've got a cookbook there. What is that?
I have several cookbooks here. This is 7 Secrets. This is a very nice cookbook. I like this one. These are actually some friends of mine. And the nice thing about this cookbook is if you're trying to go with very little oil or sugar, these recipes don't have any oil or sugar in them. They have the oil from the nuts, and the sweetener is usually dates. There might be only 1 recipe or 2 recipes that actually call for sugar in the recipe. So this is very good for diabetics to have low fat, low sugar. And you don't have to keep modifying recipes. They're all in here. And there's a nice scallop potato in here. There's a nice oat burger. And there's just a lot of very, very nice recipes in here.
Excellent.
And then I also wanted to say this one here is Better Choices. Rosalie Hurd, I think she was the one that made the first vegetarian cookbook back in the 70s.
10 talents.
And it was called 10 Talents. And a lot of people that have created cookbooks since the 10 Talents have taken variations and modifications, but 10 Talents was one of the first vegetarian cookbooks that I'm aware of. And she decided to update and put in some new recipes. So she created a new cookbook several years ago. And this is the one that she has done recently. And I really like this one too. I haven't tried a lot of recipes out here, but the ones I have tried have been very nice. And yeah, I really like, she has a vanilla ice cream in here, and it is very good. I think it's in this one. It was in the 10 Talents. I hope it made it over to this cookbook. But yeah, vanilla ice cream.
It's a beautiful cookbook.
One in number 2. And I really like this vanilla ice cream. Very, very, very good. Another one, Samantha Edwards. She has a cookbook here. This is just one of the other cookbooks we have. And it's just nice to have simple recipes. Sometimes when you're not a vegetarian, you've got to know where to start. And so she has given you some very nice recipes of different. This is called a ground meat substitute with TVP, which is texturized vegetable protein. And just a lot of nice recipes in here as well. And the last one I wanted to say is Something Better cookbook. Give them something better. And this is also a nice cookbook that I like to recommend because, like I said, it can be a very new journey for a lot of people. And one thing I like about this cookbook is it's got a lot of familiar recipes, but done in a plant-based way. Like this one has an eggless egg salad. But the other thing, it has tips and it has shortcuts and things to do in this. It just now and later change it up. It just has some good ideas because, like I said, sometimes when you haven't done this kind of cooking before, you hardly know where to start. So this is a very nice, and as you can see, let me just see this Mexican style chicken. This is a Mexican style chicken, and this calls for soy curls. And soy curls are something that we sell in the store, and it is just soybean. It's just the soybean that has been processed, and it doesn't have wheat in it. It doesn't have extra salt or anything like that. It's just the soybean. So it's like another version of tofu, but you hydrate it and it looks like chicken strips. And then you can do whatever you want because you're going to add the seasoning. If you want curry chicken, if you want Mexican style chicken, whatever you want, you season it up and you will surprise your guests. Because even with meat, it's not necessarily good by itself. It's the seasonings that you put to it. So that's the same way with the soy curls. You season it up and I think you'll be surprised that your guests may not even know what it is. So
I've got a question about those soy curls, just to jump in and then keep going with that cookbook too, please. But you mentioned the word processed, and I know some people will take that as, is that like, potato chips, ultra processed foods? But the soy curls is literally just soybeans. You mentioned they're just rehydrated and twisted into these little curls, and you're just eating beans.
Yes, it is. It's actually the friend of mine who made this company. And so it's just the machine, how he processes it, but it has nothing else in it.
Yeah, you have a food processor on your counter right there. So, the word process can mean different things. We don't want to be eating ultra processed foods, but you guys are doing wonderful processing of food right in front of us, and that's a good process.
Right. And this also has a nice menu plan to get started using this cookbook. So has menu plan, has shopping list. So I would encourage you to invest in a cookbook. There are websites out there, and nowadays you can just type in whatever you want and you can get it. But sometimes it's nice to just have a cookbook and have it all in one place instead of looking for recipes. So
what my wife likes to do is have the cookbook open on the counter. Your hands are dirty. You're not want to be picking up your phone again to pull up the recipe on the web. She just has that sitting out there. She can look at it with her hands doing this. It's very convenient. And I think it's motivating too. When you've got this special cookbook and it's somebody's put the time to put that all together, there's a lot of thought into that. And it's not just some random thing. I love Something Better, just that title. And
Yeah.
we have that cookbook too. But that is so good because you were like, people come and then they're like, we got to get this out of the house. We got to get that out of the house. But what's filling the fridge and the shelves in the pantry is something better, not just better for you, but better. You're going to feel better. You're going to be happier. You're going to feel greater energy, mental clarity, emotional balance, weight management. I mean, it's just a win, 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 win across the board. You're not addicted to ultra processed junk food anymore. The freedom from that alone is worth making the change. So I'm a big supporter of getting all those cookbooks at the LSR store and getting busy with this kind of cooking and enjoying it, doing it together.
Right. And you can start out. It's a journey. You know, people don't always jump from here to here.
Yeah.
But start out a couple days a week, or just start looking at your ingredients on your things that you're buying and say, is there an alternative out there? And, you know, ask us questions. You know, if you have a question, give us some feedback and we'll be happy to try and direct you in the right direction.
I heard
Absolutely.
said lately, he says, if you want to eat healthy, you have to learn to cook across the board. And the more that you can cook at home, the better, because you are controlling what you are eating. So it's very important. I just heard you say the word reset. For many, the coming year is going to be a good time to do a reset, to start wanting to eat better, because the more you eat healthy, the healthier you're going to be. The more you eat junk, the sicker you're going to be.
Yeah.
So spend the money on food.
And not on the hospital bills and the medications and everything
According
else.
to Hippocrates, let your food be your medicine and your medicine your food.
We've got a question about the flan. Does it set in the refrigerator? Val says, does the flan set up in the refrigerator?
It becomes firmer, yes.
Yeah.
Because of the agar. Yes.
Yeah, the agar.
And you can slice it. This one needed to be there a little bit longer, so that's why it's not.
We
So
had to
it's
taste
more
it.
firm
We
than a
took it out
pudding.
before.
We started
It's
the live show and you mentioned it like a pudding, but it's really more firm once it's been in the fridge, more firm
Correct.
than a pudding, but still a similar consistency.
The consistency is the same. Yes.
And it's sweet, and you sweeten that with dates, right? I found that wonderful. I mean, the date is just God's gift to mankind. You don't have to go to the refined sugar, and you know, you use the milk for making the mashed potatoes creamy. There's just always such great options that, you know, are just going to move us in that direction. Just make little steps, one thing at a time. Let me try this week. Replacing that with this. Always focus on what you're replacing it with instead of what I don't get to have, because that's a mental battle that's just going to drive yourself crazy. You know, I want to have it, but focus on what you do get to enjoy with the choice that you make. You know, it's a free will decision, right?
And for those people who have children, get the kids involved. If they're making something, chances are they will want to eat it. So it's a good way to get them starting on eating healthy as well.
Absolutely. Well, Jeremy, do we have any other questions? I guess that wraps it up, ladies. Any final thoughts? I'm just going to tell folks, see you on our next episode of LSR Live. Join us as we talk to Louis Burtis on liver functions, a very popular subject on the LSR networks. We'll see you Wednesday, November 27th, starting at 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Central. Stay tuned for that. And any closing thoughts?
Did you have any closing thought?
It's good to start. It's good to just make sure that you are providing healthy foods for yourself and for your family. And once everyone gets involved, it would be a win-win situation, as you said, Scott. Yes.
And it's not too late to start.
Never.
I had a friend who became a vegetarian at 52 and she died at 103. So even though she started a little bit later on life, she still had a good long life.
Absolutely. With every health choice you make, you reduce your disease risk. We know there's good research on that. That's a good anecdote too. It could work for you too. And it's all about risk management, but most of all, enjoying life. I mean, God openeth his hand and satisfieth the desire of every living thing. He takes care of us and he withholds from us no good thing, the Bible says. So thanks to our producer, Christian Digital Network, from likes to lives changed. Please scan that QR code, subscribe to the CDN YouTube channel for a bunch of good content like this and much more. And we will see you guys, as I said, next Wednesday for a popular guest we've had in the past, Louis Burtis. So we'll have a great conversation with him about an maybe underrated, underappreciated topic. You might not have thought recently about your liver, but we should be thinking about it. And you'll see why. We'll see you Wednesday, November 27th. I'm Scott Ritzema, your host.
Yes.
And happy Thanksgiving to everybody from every country. My Canadian wife said happy Thanksgiving to me over a month ago, but that's how it works. Well, we love each one of you. Thanks for being a part of the LSR community, for joining us live. Those who are watching on the archive, we're glad you're able to enjoy the healthy holiday cooking episode, and we'll see you later. I'm Scott Ritzema. Goodbye for now.
Thank you.